Shannon, back again, round two. So happy to have you.
Woo-woo.
Absolute pleasure.
Yay.
This is the last one of the year, and I'm so glad that you're on it.
Wow, how exciting.
Very exciting. That's how exciting.
Congrats on another year. That's so cool.
Thank you. I really appreciate you being here for the last one to round out 2022.
Nice.
And that sounds so crazy to say, but yeah, the last one.
Wow.
This is it. We're at the tail end.
Yeah, 2 more days.
Yeah. And then that's it. And then we're done.
Crazy.
Do you have any New Year's plans?
No, this year feels kind of mellow, but I'm in Pasadena, and the Rose Parade goes right by my house. So usually New Year's Day, I'll wake up and watch that. It's kind of fun.
That's good. That's a good. Now have you been doing that for years now?
No, this is only my second year at this house. So I did it last year, and this will be my second year.
It is a tradition then, nonetheless.
Totally, yeah.
Even when you move out of that place and you move into a different place, you're still going to be right there on New Year's Day watching it.
I think it's the convenience that brings me to the Rose Parade.
That's what you think now, but we'll see later on down the line.
Yeah, I might miss it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. And it's been about a year since we talked, roughly.
Totally.
So when we did the first one, you were in that place. Was it like relatively recently that you moved into that place? The first time that we chatted?
Yeah, I moved in February of 2021.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of right there. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Wow. How do you like it?
I love it. I love it. I have like I'm living alone for like the first time in my life here, and it's just so amazing.
You could do whatever you want for your traditions. Nobody's gonna yell at you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I can rewatch The Office as many times as I want, and no one tells me otherwise.
Now,
My cat loves it here.
Do you have the Peacock? I'm assuming now to watch it.
I have the Peacock.
I feel like they got a lot of people's business just because of The Office.
Totally. Yeah.
Nobody's saying that they're watching Cheers, or very rarely they do.
I know. And it's like they have such good deals. Like I get it for like $2 a month.
Oh, that's good.
That's great.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, NBC has some shows. A lot of people forget about it. It is The Office, yeah, but there's some other ones.
Yeah. Like all those.
All those good ones. You know what we're talking about. Frasier, I think.
Oh, I love Frasier. Yeah.
I want to say that was NBC.
That sounds right.
Mm-hmm. Wings, I think, as well. Yeah. Do you remember that show, Wings?
Totally.
Yeah, that might be NBC, but we're not going to check. We're gonna say it is
speculation. Allegedly NBC.
Allegedly NBC. We don't want to. I mean, I'm not trying to get in trouble. How many places have you lived in LA? How many different places? What number are you on right now?
Oh my days. So many, dude. Oh my God. I mean, I never lived anywhere longer than a year until, gosh, like, I guess like 2019 or something. Like I like was just always bopping around and moving around. And even as a kid, like me and my mom, we were just always moving around. But I think in LA, I'm probably in like I've lived in at least like 8 different places, I'd say.
Over the course of how many years now? How many years are we talking?
Like 2009 to now.
That's a good amount of places.
It's a lot of places, but it's hard to find your spot, and like living with roommates is always interesting too. Cause I don't know, I had a really good roommate situation a while back at Echo Park. It was like 4 of us in this house that had like a practice space in the backyard, and we were all musicians. That was an amazing roommate experience. But I think for the most part, that's kind of rare to find like a really good crew that you like gel with. So I feel like I was always just kind of like, getting in with people, and then like it wouldn't work out, and then I'd move on and find another glob to be in, and then I'd move on from that. It was like a lot of trial and error, I think.
You're just seeing where you fit in. It's fine.
Yeah.
You gotta go through the rigmarole and think, oh, okay, this is where I belong, in Pasadena by myself. That's what I've learned.
Yes. And I also toured so much when I was younger. So like I think I kind of convinced myself that home wasn't important. Like it kind of needed to be something that I wasn't attached to, because I was leaving so often. And when I first started touring, I would get really homesick. So I think it was kind of like a coping mechanism to just be like, I don't need that. Like, I don't, I'm out here doing my thing. But now that I've let myself nest a bit, it's like almost the most important thing for me. Like just having like a really cozy spot to like recharge and, be creative and be alone. It's the best.
Until you move and you're like, I don't need that shit anymore. I'm out on the road.
Yeah.
You did some big touring this year, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a really, really fun year. Yeah.
Yeah, I kept on seeing these posts on Instagram. This person, this person, this person. Pretty crazy, pretty extensive.
Yeah, it was great. And it didn't feel like exhausting. I think like I call my 20s my yes years, like where I just said yes to everything. And it was great. I learned so much and learned a lot about what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And so now that I've crossed like the 30 threshold, I feel myself getting more comfortable saying no to things and just waiting for something that like really feels like aligned and proper. So I think I think for the most part this year, I really did a good job of like using my energy wisely.
And the next year's gonna be off the rails again. Yes to everything, right? That's the move.
Totally. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
it's all about the ebb and flow. Yeah, you gotta let the reins go.
So
No,
this
next year, honestly, next year I think it's gonna be even more no, because I feel like next year it's like it's the year of the rabbit, it's the chariot year in the tarot. Like it's a year of like, really centering yourself and using your energy wisely because you're gonna be if you let it go there, you're gonna be stretched thin real quick. Like it's gonna be a really fast paced year, I think. But it's gonna be cool. Like I think opportunity is gonna be everywhere, but it's about like discernment of like, oh, I actually want to do this thing. So, instead of I feel like when you kind of get clear on what you want, the universe sends you like these little blips of like, old things that you might have said yes to, but now it's not so right for you. And you got to kind of take a beat and be like, is this one of those things where it's like, I don't really need to do this, but me 2 years ago would have been like, hell yeah, let's do this. So I think I feel myself in that mode of like just being choosy, I guess.
So you're not gonna come on the podcast next year. I understand that. That's fine. It's one of the things you say no to. I get it.
This is a quality program. I'll always say yes to this program. Fabulous.
That's a direct quote. We're gonna clip that. We're gonna clip that. We're gonna use it as promotional. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'll send you the money for the statement. Thank you very much.
Amazing.
Going back to touring though, how many tours did you do this year? I mean, because you kind of part of a few of them, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I did a lot of shorter trips. That's kind of been my thing coming out of the pandemic. I kind of promised myself like no more than 2 weeks away from home. Like that's after that you kind of start to it gets loopy after that. So I think I did a bunch of really short trips. I must have done at least like six to 10 in that ball.
Yeah, I took it easy this year. Kind of did what I want to do. 6 to 10. I know I was a little bit lazy this year, but I just need that time to recuperate. That's
Yeah,
a lot. That's a lot of time.
it was a lot, but it also felt like redemption year for the touring that I missed out on. I think a lot of people felt that way. It was like a big makeup year of just like, oh, we're like the gates are really open and it's a little bit more certain that things will happen. It's still in the mode of just like you have to expect the unexpected because you never know. But for the most part, everything worked out. Everything was great, and I was able to like play the songs from Geist in the U.S. a lot, and that felt really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, looking back at 2021, was that kind of a transitional year from like everything shut to we're kind of opening up more, and then leading to this year that everything was on track?
Yeah, it was funny because in 2021 I got to go to Europe. I didn't go to Europe this year, and 2021 I went to Europe, and things were still really sketchy. Like every kind of move I made, it felt like we were in front of this like tsunami wave because like I'd play a festival and then the next day like they would shut it down, and then like we'd like get to London and have to test, and it was just like it was a little bit stressful, but I think you just have to go with it. It's like all of this chaos is kind of encouraging us to just be a little more fluid with our actions and not be so rigid and just kind of like, I mean, we're such adaptable beings. Like we're totally built for this, but it's just kind of a bummer a lot of the time. But I think also you gotta like keep that positivity going, because feeling safe within all of this uncertainty is a challenge, but it's also like one of those things that has felt really natural the whole time of just like, finding this kind of peace within all of the upheaval. So I felt good in 2021, like emerging and kind of doing what was there for me to do. It felt nice. But I know for a lot of people, like you just got to listen to yourself, because for a lot of people it's still a scary world. It's still like there's a lot of fear. And if I'm honest with myself, like hell yeah, I'm scared every time I leave the house. I mean, it's just like the
Cut
world
it,
is
cut it. Do not lie to yourself. Lie to yourself. That's the point of this podcast. No, 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 no. Do not face your fears. Suppress them down until they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. That's my whole brand. Yeah.
It's very healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, doctors really advise for that. Yeah, just whatever you're feeling, just shove that down. Do not explore feelings. No.
No.
Act as if they're not there. That's my motto. But
Yeah, that's the way of the people.
Sure, absolutely.
The future, really.
2023. Suppress your feelings.
No, I hate that. I love how like I feel like with feelings, like I love how things are kind of going in the way of just like normalizing it. I just want to feel normal feeling things. It's the coolest thing. And like feeling safe expressing yourself. I think a lot of us didn't have that privilege as kids to just kind of like let it out. And as adults, learning that like emotional literacy is such a trip, because it's so hard. It's so difficult, but you learn so much. It's amazing.
Is it kind of gratifying that people are drawn to you being yourself now, as opposed to being kind of like hiding it as a kid? Is
Yeah.
it is it like, oh my gosh, I was on the right track, or people dig this, what I was feeling when I was young and I wasn't able to do it, and now
Yeah.
I'm doing it?
I think I broke that open this year in the coolest way. Like I did this tour with this lovely artist called Izzy Johnson, and we went on the road together, just like us and like packed in a little Prius, like did like a little tour up to the Bay Area, and like
How rock stars do it in the Prius. Yes.
absolutely.
That's how Mick Jagger gets around, I heard. Yes.
Yeah. But like I felt the most radical acceptance on that tour. Like, any way I was, any way I looked or acted, it was just, I felt this kind of no holds bar, like I can be myself energy. And it really helped me like emerge on stage and in real life. And I felt the strongest, most loving response to it. And exploring that has been so cool, because my music is quite heavy, and me as a person, I'm quite like light and silly a lot of the time, and I think having that facet within what I do musically, it just creates this really rounded world of feeling where there's like that moment of kind of having that sadness and letting that come through, and then you can lift out of it into like the joy that is expression and just like being yourself. And in the end, I mean, that's all people want to see. It's funny because we kind of, all we have is our experience and the people that we like and look up to. And I think a lot of the time you come up kind of emulating and guessing and trying to figure it out. And then this year, it just really felt like I stepped into, my frequency, so to speak, like who like how it really feels to be authentic. And the response was insane. Like the warmth that I felt from the crowd. And like my favorite thing is like when you're comfortable on stage, everyone in the audience is comfortable, and if everyone's comfortable, it doesn't even matter what you're doing. Like it just feels really good. That's the best. That's it. That's the best entertainment, when you just feel comfortable and everyone's stoked to be there. It's such a good time.
That's killer.
Yeah.
Now we have spoke maybe earlier this year. I want to say it caught you at that gallery, and you're playing a little show, just a little set outside, and it was awesome to feel that what you're talking about. And though your songs do have heavy kind of aspects to them. Your banter outside of it is just amazing. It's that perfect balance.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
I love it when I'm in the mood, because sometimes I'm not. Sometimes like I beat myself up because I'm like, oh, I wasn't like funny enough. I didn't bring the funny. But I think being true to how you feel in that moment is all that's required. It's like if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. But those nights when like I'm just kind of like silly and fun, and then still like crushing the songs. It's such a nice balance. I love it.
And of course, for those who don't know and hasn't seen Shannon live, it's half comedy, stand-up hour. You got Type 45 this year, I'm assuming, because it's all brand new stuff from these 7 tours or to 10 tours that you did. I mean, you really got time to hone in what you're saying there. So, and
Yeah.
Netflix, it's coming out we later on in January, right? That's your stand-up debut.
Yeah, totally. It'll
Oh,
be
cool.
a whole special. It's gonna be me, and I think there's like some puppets involved, and just we really went for it. There's like a fireworks ending that's really special.
It's gonna be great. Really looking forward to it. Also, it's gonna be streaming on Peacock, obviously, as
Obviously.
as we know. Yes, NBC also bought the rights.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I had to learn how to ride a horse. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that a little bit. Going back to your like you like to do like kind of shorter tours and shorter legs of tours and whatnot. What has been the longest leg of a tour that you've done, like the most you've been out on the road without a break?
The longest tour I ever did, I believe, was 6 weeks. And I want to say it was in Europe with Feels. And it was a lot. It was a lot. Around week 3, you just kind of leave your body. You're just like in this weird, like fluxing state of tour, and it's cool, but at the same time, it just becomes monotonous in this weird way that like I don't know, the appreciation goes out of it, and you're just kind of like doing it, and I don't know, that's cool too. Like more power to you if like that's your style, but
And
for
that's
me,
your style, obviously. That's for you. That's what you enjoy
I
being
mean, I
in.
want to push to 12 weeks. I want to do like the 6 months in like Asia, just Asia. Here we are.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
Yes. Perfect.
I'm so lucky. When I'm home, I just get to wake up and kind of see where the day wants to take me, and it's so fun. Like I started doing ceramics this year, and am absolutely obsessed. And I've been selling little cups at like shows and stuff, and people are just like eating it up. So I'm like, this rules, man. I get to just be home and like create while I'm kind of waiting for the next invitation to come in, and it feels so nice. I love being home.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You said this year or right around a year that you've been making these ceramic kind of cups and whatnot.
Yeah, I think I took lessons back in like June or something.
Oh, so not even a year. You're just skilled.
I'm
It's
s-
just
I'm quite skilled, yes.
yeah, you're the best ceramic artist. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Nice. Could you say some hobbies for the rest of us? Maybe be nice. Okay.
Okay, okay. You can have macrame.
Master. Nobody wants macrame. Okay. Anyways, that's a shit deal.
We need macrame. How are we gonna hang our plants? What are we gonna do?
Let the other macrame artists deal with that. Okay.
Okay.
It's covered.
All right.
I don't want to journey into that. That's just me. And no problem with macrame artists. It's just not for me.
You're gonna get some letters because
Yeah, I'm gonna get some
that's
comments.
they write you letters.
Yeah, they write the letters. And of course it's gonna be knitted into like a fabric of some sort. That's how the macrame
Of
people
course. They break out
show.
the cross stitch for the letters. They get the yeah.
Yes, of course. You seem to know a lot about this, Shannon. I wonder if you're the head of this. I don't know. You're involved somehow. I get to the bottom of this.
I'm the head of the organization.
Knew it. But yeah, you're making these trays and cups and these sort of ceramic pieces. Uh does that kind of scratch an itch of like artistic not performance, but rather creating something artistically? Does that kind of scratch an itch that music wasn't, or is it just kind of like like expanding what you want to do with art and taking it in a new format or direction?
Kind of both. I love how it's integrated itself with music. Like it feels like a very seamless offering at a show. You know, like it's just something that like reflects kind of my creativity with art in a cool way that's like physical to take home with you, which is so fun. But I also love just like having something really solitary that I can do alone and you know, create these like right now I'm really into making cups. That's like cups and like bowls every once in a while and like little catch-all trays. But I just love creating these like vessels for whatever you need them for. It feels like a very practical kind of, you know, here you go, have this thing. I love it so much. I'm obsessed, dude.
I love how stoked you are on it. Like that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm into.
It's the best. Also, anything I can do just while I'm chilling watching TV, like I'll do the underglaze, which is like how I get the designs on there. I'm just
I took ceramics in high school. I know which ends up. I've done a kiln. I've done pinch pots. I've been on the wheel. All right.
amazing.
I was not good, but I did it nonetheless.
I love that. I've always wanted to try it. I'm so glad I finally did this year. It just cracked the world open for me. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now you have your own kiln, right? You have a huge kiln, and that's what is behind this computer right now. That you're facing it right now, right? You're firing something.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I sleep in there sometimes. You know, it's warm.
Yeah, well, you know, it's getting a bit brisk out here in Southern California. Yeah, I understand. You got to do what you got to do to feel comfortable.
Yeah. No, I wish I could have a kiln. My house is kind of old, so I don't have the right power. But I have like a firing membership. So I take it to a place and drop it off and they fire it.
Also, it's too fucking big. Space wise, it would be an issue.
Crazy. They make smaller ones, but you still need you need the 220 power. You need the good power.
Get the good power then. What are we doing here?
Well, I'm renting. My landlord's not going to do it. He's not going to pull it. I don't think he's going to do it.
You do it for yourself. You say, hey,
Just get in there.
yeah. Learn how to be an electrician.
Okay.
Bump up the amperage or voltage. I can't remember which one is.
Amperage sounds right.
Say amperage.
Okay.
I'm gonna get yelled at. It was voltage, idiot. I'll go, okay.
I'm from
My
Amperage.
apologies. I'm from Amperage. Let me tell you what's what.
Amperage pride. Oh my god.
That is amazing though, that you found that new kind of thing that is like, oh, this is great on top of making music.
It's so fun. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So what will be next year? What do you think? What are you thinking your next year kind of new thing that you're going to get into is?
I'm hoping to make the next record next year. I kind of blocked off the first couple months of the year to like just like go back. I have like so many voice memos from like the last few years, so I just kind of want to go through and see if there's anything in there. Maybe there's like a little, you know, maybe I could build a little pile and maybe it becomes something. So I'm hoping that's like the next thing.
I meant like a new thing like graffitiing, but music's cool too, I guess. Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, graffito tagging.
Yeah.
As Marge Simpson would say.
Yeah, graffito tagging. Yes. Have you ever seen anybody tagging something in real time?
Totally. Yeah, living in LA, I think it's you see it all the time.
I feel like I did see it once, but it was like on the 5 freeway, and it was like dark.
Like, doing it like up in the like on the sides of the freeways and stuff.
Yeah, on like a pillar of like a whatever, an over ramp, you know. So I'm coming in, I'm merging.
Yeah.
They're doing whatever they're doing. I go,
Epic.
oh, was that? And I don't know.
Wow.
I like to think so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are an avid graffiti artist though, in out of LA. You trained under Banksy, right? That was your mentor.
Yeah, I just called him Thanks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you guys are close. I would never take that liberty because I don't know him that well.
Oh my god.
I don't know him that well. I don't, you don't take liberties like that,
Yeah.
You see him around, you go, hey.
Hey.
But it's every time I see him, it's more like Jacob. I have to reintroduce myself, which is fine.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah. We're just not super close, but you guys are, and that's nice.
Yeah. It's a big responsibility because people still don't know who he is. So it's a burden.
I'll put up a picture right now of exposing him. Yeah.
There you go. Link in
So
bio.
so yeah, link in bio. If you see him, be sure to go shake his hand.
Okay.
Say what's up.
Okay.
Not you, the people who don't know him, because
Oh,
obviously you know him very
okay.
well. Yeah. Duh. Yeah. These tours that you were going on throughout this year, was it solo performances only?
Yeah, for the most part, the tours were all solo. I played a few shows in LA with like a three-piece band kind of style with like keys and stand-up bass, which was really nice. But traveling alone is really easy and also like allows me to, make it my job, which is really nice. And I just like I get a lot out of, like, I feel like everyone in the crowd gets a lot out of it. I get a lot out of it playing solo. Playing with a band is like kind of like a bonus, but I wouldn't say it's like greater or less than. It's like kind of equal to. So
I was hoping you're gonna greater than less. Sounds like it's coming up equal to. It's like, okay, good.
yeah.
I think everybody's like they're the same. I was like, I was really hoping for the equal to there to kind of round it out.
Yeah, I love playing solo. I love that I can do that. It's like a cool skill to have.
Mhm. Were you nervous the first couple times that you were trying to do it? Whenever you began to go up on stage by yourself?
I was so nervous. I swore I would never do it again. I'll never forget like the feeling of my first solo show. It was at Hyperion Tavern, which is like this weird, tiny little dark bar in like Silver Lake area, and I just hated every second of like the build up to it, and then getting up there and doing it, and then the response was so warm and lovely that it kind of shook me out of that little like moment of static. I think like nerves can feel like static sometimes, and it's just hard to like think through it, but there's totally like clarity on the other side of it. And I mean, it's so funny because I've met so many of my heroes now, like people I look up to in music, and everyone has the same thing. Like it's really hard to get up on stage. It's a very, like, people never talk about like what happens in your body while you're doing it. Like there's, your heart's beating and your mouth gets dry and you tighten up, and like, you're kind of just thinking about a million things at once, and all you have to do is one thing. And there's shows where I can't get out of my head, and the whole time I'm just in my head thinking about how awful this whole thing is. And I mean, it's such a kind of constant battle. But last year I had a really good talk with my nervousness, and I was like, look, we've been doing this for a decade, dude. Like maybe we're not gonna totally fuck it up. Cause that's the nervousness I used to get. It was like, oh my God, I'm gonna puke and die on stage. Like that's what's gonna happen. It's like the whole world's gonna hate me, and my mom's gonna like like disown me. Like it was like the biggest fear. Like it was life or death fear. And so getting to a point in my mind, at least, where I can be a little bit more calm and confident in what I'm doing has felt really good. But the body sensation is still there, and I've started playing this little instrumental to start the set, where I just kind of take a moment to breathe a little bit and calm myself down a little bit, because it affects my voice, being nervous, like getting shaky. And so there's that cool down moment once I get up there, because no matter how calm I am backstage, that moment of just like however long it is to walk onto the stage, there's all of this stuff that happens. And so especially playing like a more quiet set where everyone is just looking at you, being in a band, I would just like take a shot of tequila and like get up there and it would be great. But like playing solo, it just takes a little bit more like time and care and finesse. And you know it's a tough thing, man. And then once you're up there, like those same heroes that I've spoken to, like everyone is just so harsh on themselves, when it comes to singing, especially, it seems like, is like, I don't know if it's because it's so within our control or something, and like us messing it up is just solely our responsibility. It's a big, thing of it's an easy access point for like our inner saboteur to come in and just kind of mess shit up. But it's nerves are a trip, man. That is a trippy part of this profession. I mean, sure, I'm sure even in podcasting, like it's such an act of putting yourself out there. I think anything where you do.
It's fine. I really enjoy doing it. Um
But so much props to literally like, I mean, even just like leaving your house, like life is so trippy and intense, and to put yourself in these situations and like have yourself be seen in this way, it's, I feel like it's all we want, but it's also what we're all so afraid of. It's that classic like hopes and fears are usually intermingled in some way kind of
Sure. Absolutely. Was there a point after that kind of conversation with yourself about, hey, the world's not going to end after after every set or before every set or during? Was there a point or like a performance that you're like, all right, it is what it is. I'm going to try my best. The world's not going to end. Was there like a clarity point, like through like at least one performance? You're like, it's fine. It
yeah.
is what it is.
Honestly, everything changed after that talk. Like I literally was in my car talking to myself, talking to my nervousness, and it really, really helped. It really did. Because in the end, those parts of yourself that kind of scream are just, they're screaming for attention. They want your attention. And so yeah, I always kind of picture it like talk show style, where I like, please welcome to the stage, like my nervousness. Let's talk about it. And like
And
we'll
everyone's
just,
like, everyone's boo, the audience, of course.
no, every part is valid. Every part is valid. So that, the but
It's
even
like it's like a slight clap. It's like, I fucking, it's fine.
it's fine.
I'm not a huge fan. They had
Right.
like one good album. Okay, whatever. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, like nervous, every part of ourselves like that serves some kind of purpose, obviously, or at some point it did. But nervousness is just so funny because life would be so much easier without it. But I don't know, like it's that classic thing of like, if there weren't any challenges, you wouldn't learn anything. So like, if I didn't have this thing, would I even have the drive to like push past it and be on stage? It's like a
Right.
kind of duality.
So usually, well, going back to like before you had this changing conversation with yourself, what would be your immediate feeling like as soon as you said like good night and then stepped off the stage? What would be the immediate emotional feeling within you during those times?
Ooh. That is something that has changed a lot over the years. When I first started playing music, I would I wouldn't even accept compliments. Like if someone was like, "Oh, that was a great show," I'd straight up shut them down. I'd be like, "No, it wasn't. I was terrible. Like I did terrible." And like that is something I look back on and just have so much compassion for, because like just it's so dismissive of like the gifts that I have and like my ability to kind of express myself in that way, and also like dismissive of someone else appreciating that. It's just like a whole ego trip that like I think a lot of us deal with when we put ourselves out there like that. But in the end, like even just you trying is such a courageous act. And like in my 20s, I spent so much time beating myself up for things that did not fucking matter. Like the little, vocal cracks, or like me messing up on guitar, or, like if my amp would go out and like it would disrupt the show or whatever. Like all these little things that were totally natural and normal. It would just become like weeks on end of like waking up and thinking about it and hating myself for it. And I just I often feel that part of myself, and am now surrounded by people who like will genuinely help me out with just like validating, like, no, it was a really great show, like you did well. I think of my partner who just gets the worst of it. Like after a show I'll be like, are you sure it was all right? Are you sure it was good? Are you sure? Like, and he's so sweet. He'll humor me every time and just be like, yes, yes, yes. So there's still moments that I pick apart, and I think that in my kind of hypervigilance that I grew up in, it echoes now in that way, where I just want everyone to be comfortable, and I want to do a good job. And in the end, like whatever you offered was that, like, good job. Like it's never going to be perfect. We're never going to have it figured out. Every time is going to be different, and that's why people come to shows. That's why people come back to see you, is because you never step in the same river twice, kind of thing. Like we're all just flailing around, and it's really cool to watch. Like if we could make the experience a little more comfortable for us, then we could just have fun with the flailing. It doesn't necessarily have to be this thing of like I fucked up again. It's like, oh, I did that thing that was so different. That was so much different for this experience.
It's unique in every way.
It's unique. Yes. Yes.
Very
But
nice.
the pressure that we put on ourselves is more intense than any of us can imagine. And it's really interesting because whenever I put someone else in my position and I'm like, would I treat someone else this way? The answer is always no. I would never, ever treat anyone that I know this way, or don't, just anyone. It's
But
like,
people that I don't know, you better watch out because I'm coming for you, right?
I'm judging you harshly.
I'm judging you so hard if I don't know you.
Yeah, but I've also come to just like really appreciate just anyone doing anything, like in a way, like it's so easy to hate is like an easy kind of go to kind of like just it's like something that unites people is hate. We're seeing that in the world in such a big way right now. It's like, but I don't think that it's like a sustainable source of like joy and like validation. Like I don't think it pays to hate.
It does pay to nervousness. So if you feel all riled up all the time, that's you're golden. That's how
Yeah.
you should be feeling constantly. That's it. And if you feel happy for a moment and then you go back to nervousness, you should feel bad about feeling happy for a moment.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
That
That's the
reminds,
takeaway from
that
this.
reminds me of your new business that you started, where people can hire you to hide in their house, and when they do start to get comfortable, you scare them. You come out and kind of give them a fright, put them
Right.
back in sleep, and then they charge you per scare. I heard that's
Right. Yeah. I wait, and it's a long waiting game. I like to do a little bit of research while I'm waiting there for the
Mhm.
sense of lull, and I really get to what bugs them the most.
Yes, yes.
That's
Feel the
the
phone,
funnest
look
part.
in the notes. Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah. I'm sneaking into computers. I'm looking at emails. Yeah. I'm looking for anything written down. Handwritten notes is what you really want to look for because that's what really touched them the most, especially
right.
from somebody else. So, a previous lover, something like that.
Yeah,
And if I can't get them like that, I will hack into, Facebook or something and like look for the ex-girlfriend or boyfriend and I'll message them, hey, I miss you. Um,
stir the pot.
yeah, really try to rile some feathers up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. New business practice. I'm really looking forward to really launching it. And I'm glad you mentioned it. I was gonna wait until the end of the podcast, but yeah, if you need to be scared and stepping out of happiness, if your life is too happy at the moment, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
That'd be awful.
Oh my God, be awful. I feel like life is already like that. You know what I mean?
I'm just new component, new characters in life. You gotta
Totally.
switch some out
Nurture your nervousness.
and feed it and make sure it consumes you. Yeah. All that good stuff. What is the major difference besides it's just you up there with the guitar and your vocals? What is the major difference between being up on stage with the band and being there just by yourself?
Hmm. I mean, there's definitely something to be said for like the family unit that is a band. Like it's such a kind of like strong force. Like you're a part of this really kind of big in so many senses. Like the sound is big, and you're just this one component of this like machine. And it's a really cool feeling. Like you're in community with people in like a very active way. It's like a very cool um like way to kind of like experience yourself and experience other people. It's also incredibly challenging. Like keeping even like four people on the same page is really difficult. Like, and for the most part, anyone I know who plays with a band, it's an investment. Like it's totally an investment in, if especially if it's like, you're the singular entity and then you have people playing with you. It's just like an investment in yourself that like, you know, it's a gamble like anything else. Like you're just doing it for the love of it, and that's that's kind of all you get out of it most of the time. It's not something that like really amounts to like monetary gain or whatever. And
until it does, and it has for you. You're multimillionaire now.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Forbes 30 under 30.
Right, it's coming out. Yeah, looking forward to reading the article.
But playing solo, I mean, it's just for me, for my energy type, for like the way that I operate, it just feels really easy. There's like an ease about it that I really appreciate, and it creates like a lot of like within that ease, I can have a lot of fun, and it's when I get other people involved, like I'm still working on that part of me that feels responsible for every person I come into contact with, and so being only responsible for myself, and I feel like it helps to like just create like an environment that's easier for me to like explore and navigate and pouring.
Thrive in.
Yeah.
Do you feel a sense of community, especially now in the end, even like this last year that just happened with these multiple going on tour with multiple different people? Do you find your sense of community within kind of being on the road with these different groups?
Totally. It's a really, really cool way to grow your relationships, and with yourself, with the people that you're with. And at this point, like for me in my life, my community is how I get all of my opportunities. Like the people that I know, and the situations that I'm in are really, really valuable to my like progress and my joy. And coming to like really, really like take that and like appreciate that and like use that in a way that is so beneficial for everybody has been really fun, because I do tend to also like isolate and feel like, okay, I'm just like on my own over here. But this year really opened me up to like, oh, there's just like so much support. And all those years that I spent traveling and playing music, like I have this immense net of people that I can call upon and that can call upon me. And you know just learning how to like be within that in like a way that feels really natural has been really cool, because I think also in my 20s I really pushed myself to like always be at every show and like kind of like be really present. And now I feel like I've really put myself out there in the sense that like what I have to offer, and people have seen what I can do, and I can just kind of sit back and be confident in when I feel called to go out or be at a show, and not feel so much pressure to like be out of my comfort zone in that sense. Like when I go out, it feels right. If it doesn't, I'm more than happy to stay home. JOMO is my new favorite thing. Joy of missing out.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's good.
yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't there.
I'm glad.
It was the best show ever. Well,
Sorry, I'm late. I didn't want to come.
didn't want to ruin it. Sorry.
Yeah, community is everything, especially in LA. There are just so many great people. It's literally insane. There's just like talent out the fucking yang. It's incredible.
How many different, or who did you go on tour with rather this year? How many different people?
I did that tour with Izzy Johnson. I did a Bedouin tour, which was amazing. Ty Siegel, I did a tour with him. The Murlocs, I just did a tour with them. Bridget Dawson, and Earth Girl Helen Brown. I just got back from like a short run with those guys. Did a couple headlining tours like up to the Bay that were really fun. What else did I tour with? That might have been it. I'm sure there's more.
Oh, is that enough? Is that it? Is that all you did? Oh wow, what a waste of a year. To a niche.
I really pissed it away.
That's very, very impressive, Shannon. Good on you. That's amazing.
I'm such a lucky person. I've found, definitely post pandemic, found just like a new appreciation for getting to play shows. Like it's the trippiest thing in the world to just like have people standing there listening to these songs that you wrote. It's really fucking cool.
Would you be opposed to sitting in a chair or a stool while playing? Would you ever do that?
I often do that.
Okay. So will you stop doing that? Rather, is what I should have asked.
Well, I like to I like to feel the vibe. Like, what's the read the room kind of thing, you know? Can the people see me if I'm sitting? You know,
Hmm,
like
hmm.
if it's a lower stage, I might stand. Also, singing while standing has felt really nice lately. I've been trying to like sing more from like the gut, you know, like your kind of diaphragm.
Sure, sure, sure. Right there.
Frightening. Ooh, yeah. But I meet a lot of singers these days that like don't have that instinct to go into their gut. And I feel like it ties into the kind of disconnect we have with our bodies in general. Like the, you know, even medical science separates your head and your body. Like there's different doctors for each thing. You know, it's super trippy. But there is that kind of barrier. And you know, what stands as the gatekeeper is your heart. You know, it's like it's that heart space that becomes, you know, it's just a really tender place to open up. And I think a lot of us learned to shut it down if we didn't have like the proper nurturance as kids. It'll be cool to see what this next generation is like, because I think that parents are kind of getting wise to just like, you know, I've heard kindergartens are doing like meditation and like mindfulness moments and, you know, conflict resolution, all these things that I think when you get a solid foundation of those things and like stress management and all that kind of stuff, it, I mean, everything else just becomes easier, and you don't have that blockage of, you know, not like you don't short circuit when something goes wrong. You just kind of know how to deal with it. It'll be cool to see like what that skill does for the world. I think it's gonna
Yeah, that's true. And I heard that David Lynch is just visiting different elementary schools and teaching them about transcendental meditation, and
change.
also explaining Twin Peaks to them as well, which is very nice. Very
Well, that
nice of
is
him to,
nice.
yeah.
Like what was the log lady up to? You know what I mean? That's what I want to know.
That's a good fucking question. That's a really good question, Shannon. Super. These are the questions I should be asking.
These are the questions. Yes.
These are them. That was such a good fucking show.
So good.
It
So I
was
think
such a good show to the point that I convinced my parents, said you have to, it's fucking trippy, but it's like you guys will like it, you know? And they did. It's
oh
like,
my god.
yeah. So I was stoked on that because they like the X-Files, you know, and it's kind of in like the same vein. And I was like, you guys just hang on because it gets crazy.
It's amazing. I love
Yeah.
TV so much. There's so much good TV.
What are you watching recently? What has been on the TV at your house recently?
I just finished The White Lotus season 2.
People keep on fucking talking about it. I gotta check it out.
It
Okay.
was excellent. It was excellent. I love seeing the Jennifer Coolidge resurgence. I actually worked at a vintage store for years, and she would come in all the time. And I was worried about her. You know, like she always seemed a little bit filled out and just like, you know, kind of off. You could always see like her extensions, like the little extension tracks. And she was so fun though. She would have us like try shit on and just like be super friendly. But
You take your hand, you're like, hey, we care about you.
hey,
Hey,
are you good,
Jennifer,
Jen?
Jen, be honest.
Talk about it. Be honest with me.
It's
But
just
yeah,
us, Jen. It's just us. We can be frank.
yeah.
You all right?
You know, yeah, but that was a fun watch. What else has been on? Oh, I just watched that documentary that Jonah Hill did called Stutz. It's about his therapist.
Mhm.
That was a really good watch. It was just so cool. It's so cool to see stuff like that in the mainstream of just like talking about these really simple aspects of life that all of us deal with and like need help with. It was beautiful. What else did I go watching? I was thinking about going to see Babylon tonight, that movie.
Babylon, huh? Okay.
Yeah. I love Margot Robbie. She's a babe.
I oh yes, I love Margot Robbie as well. Absolutely. It's a new movie though. I haven't heard about that movie. Is it? I mean, obviously you're contemplating going to see it. Is it?
It's in the theaters, yes, yes, yes. But it's about it's funny because I just watched Singing in the Rain for the first time. And,
Oh,
and
yeah, a good one.
good
Uh,
one. Yeah.
same. Just like yeah, Jennifer Coolidge is in that as well. Little known fact.
Oh my god. But Babylon deals with similar themes of like, you know, movies going from silent movies to talkies and like
Oh,
the actors kind of struggling to like make that transition. I read this article about it today and they brought up that like back in the day when things were silent, they'd have like 5 different productions going at once. Like you'd have like the romance movie over here, you'd have the chariot, you know, kind of gladiator movie over here, you'd have the sci-fi movie over here. Everyone would just be filming shit because there's no sound.
It doesn't fucking matter. Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter. And of course there was like that pushback of like, this isn't gonna catch on. This movie's with sound. This is, you know, this is Bumpkiss. And like, you know, people kind of surrendering to like what was, you know, changing in that industry. It must have been a really, really interesting time. I love movies so much. I love how, you know, we love to escape into entertainment. And it's just like, I think one of the richest areas of human existence. It's so cool. But movies have really fallen off. I feel like the like standard for movies has fallen in the last few. It's like Idiocracy, you know, where people are like watching the butts. Like I think they've realized that we will watch anything, you know, like just, you know, the Bachelorette. Like I watch that, you know, like I will watch that. And now they know that we'll watch anything, so they literally make anything. I think the standard should be a little higher.
That's what we came here to discuss, really. Yeah, music's fine. It's usually a music podcast, but today we're talking about the state of film.
Yeah.
In the world today.
Absolutely.
What was the last movie that you were really like, whoa, like that was a really good movie?
I really loved Barbarian, that horror movie. Did you see that?
No.
Fantastic. So fantastic. Kind of like, you know, just really like quick start and like got into it. There was no fluff, and like, you know, the way that the movie was paced was really beautiful, and it was scary without being like shock value kind of horror and gore. It was really well done, and the ending was brilliant. Loved that. And then also, you know, the other night I watched this movie called Christmas Evil, which was like a classic, you know, horror Christmas movie. Kind of shitty. Like it's on Shudder. You watch on Shudder, but it was filmed really well, and it was really good, and the ending was really good. Like I was really blown away because it seemed like it should have been one of those like, you know, Evil Bong kind of like, okay, like what are we doing here? But it was really good. It was really good. What was that other one? I saw a good Paul Walker movie the other day. Wait, I gotta look at this movie because it was really good. It was him and this other guy. Oh, I can't remember his name.
Vin Diesel. Yeah.
Not Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
Not Vin Diesel. It's about him like and his brother, and they like taunt this truck driver, and then the truck driver comes after them.
What?
It's so good. And the truck driver is the voice of Joyride. It's called Joyride. That's right. Yeah, it's Paul Walker and Steve Zahn.
Okay. White Lotus, right?
Yes, totally.
Okay.
But it was a fabulous watch. It was really high energy and like intense.
It's an odd pairing.
Pairing. Right? Yeah.
Quite odd.
Oh, Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs does the voice of the truck driver. So he's just extra creepy. Oh, it's so good. I want to watch it again. It was so good.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I was tired. Joyride.
How many celebrities do you see? Not regularly, but like just out and about. You go, oh, it's fucking like Jennifer Coolidge or Steve Zahn or somebody like that. How often does it happen to you?
It actually doesn't happen that much anymore. When I worked at a shop, it would happen all the time. Like Bjork came in one time. I'll never forget that. I totally kept her like signed credit card receipt. I was just like, I'm gonna keep this forever. But I did see. I went to Beverly Hills the other day, and I saw what's his face? He's like an amazing R&B singer.
Old what's his face?
Old what's his face? He's married to that girl with the cheeks.
Okay. John Legend, is that
John Legend? Okay. Yes, I saw John Legend. He was like, "Color Me Mine."
Did he come up to you? Was he like, "Hey"?
He said, I love your movies. I love your work. I love how much you love Paul Walker. We should get a coffee sometime.
And then you said, "Stop bothering me. I'm on my day off. You can't just come up to me." And you know how rude that is? That's what you said to him.
I just gave him a good slap and walked away. I think that's the best way to deal with those.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Him and his wife, yeah.
Oh my
Slap
God.
them both. Keep on walking. You go, hey, okay. I just got off a tour. Let me fucking relax for a minute, okay?
Yeah.
In my business, John Legend.
John, not so legendary. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. How about that, bub?
Yeah.
You just keep on walking. I don't know what her problem was. You go, I don't know what his problem was. It's there's two sides to every story, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Oh, and I saw, you know, who I saw the other day? It was this you no Instagram star. Her name's Laura, like Laura Clary or something. But I saw her and her husband and like their two kids, and like it was so strange because I'm so used to seeing them on the gram, and
Yeah,
there they were at this health food store, and I was just like, oh my God, there they are. That was it.
of course at a health food store, Instagram people. Yes. Do you shop at only health food stores?
I like a health food store. I like a Trader Joe's, a Whole
Hmm.
Foods. Yeah.
Trader Joe's or Whole Foods? Which one's better overall?
You know, Trader Joe's has the good prices. I think if
Mhm.
you got 2 bags of groceries at Trader Joe's, maybe $60. If you're going to Whole Foods, $160. You know, that shit is pricey. But I go for different things. You go to each for different things.
You go to different places. This
Yeah.
place, nah, this place doesn't have this. I gotta go to the other place.
Gotta
That
go
they
to
have
the
the
other place.
they got the better stuff. I'm not. I did that before. I'm not gonna fucking do it again. Whatever
Yeah.
the bonbons at Trader Joe's
Oh
or
my God.
whatever it is.
Yeah, like you don't get your ranch at Trader Joe's. Trader
No,
Joe's ranch is terrible. Oh my God.
you gotta go to the valley.
You
It,
gotta go to the valley of the,
it,
yes, the hidden valley. You gotta
it's
find
in
the valley. You gotta go there. Get you there.
deep in the valley, deep up there.
Paul Newman, dude. What a legend. Just snuck right into the salad dressing business.
Yeah, yeah, he did. How does the first show of a tour compare to the last show of a tour?
I love being on tour because it's like a singular purpose. You have one purpose, and it's to show up to that gig and crush it and then go on to the next one. And kind of the last show, I always get really sad after the last one. And I think in the past I've tried to like turn it into this thing of like, oh, I'm sad because I didn't do a good job, or you know, like I wish that was different or something. But I think that the sadness comes from the end of that chapter, the tour chapters. You know, it's like, because really, like, you know, I have this classic thing before I leave for tour where I'm just like, you know, oh, like, oh, stressful, oh. And then as soon as I close that door and I'm out, like, you don't have anything to worry about. You have literally one purpose, and like you get to fulfill that every night, and it's beautiful. And then that last show comes around, and there's always a little bit of, I think, you know, mourning the closing of a chapter.
Mhm.
It's an interesting feeling. It's really weird because I don't know why, but I feel like we always have this idea that nothing will come after. Like once we're done with something, we get that fear of like, oh God, what's next? And I would love to switch it to like appreciating the moment that I just had and knowing that something else is gonna come. You know, like something else always comes. It's like if you said goodbye to me today and you were like, I'll never have another guest again. You know, it's like that, it's just not true. Like,
What makes a good set for you? What marks it? Like that was a good one.
hmm. You know, the more and more it's just like the feeling. Because like before it was this kind of chasing perfection, which is an impossible feat. And now it's just like, did that feel really good? Like, and like I think I can usually kind of like gauge how the whole collective felt around a set, and for the most part it's usually really beautiful and wonderful. So that's been really nice. Like the vibes are good at a Shannon Lay show. It feels really lovely. But yeah, I think now like the mistakes don't matter so much. It's like, you know, because almost the mistakes are so juicy and lovely because it's the great unifier. It's that reminder that we're all human and that we're all going to fall down and that we're all going to get back up, and that like no one is cheering for you to fail, but we've all failed and we've all been there, and like it's in those moments that we learn so much about who we are. So it's been nice to see how I adjust to like bouncing back from that stuff. So yeah, the feel is the indicator of a good show. And even if the feel is off for me, I'll usually, you know, come out after the show and let everyone else tell me how the show was, because a lot of times I can't trust the old noggin. It's just it can be really mean in there. So
Starting with your partner, how was it? Are you sure? Are you
yes,
positive?
yes. Was this part weird? Yeah. Oh my god, he gets the worst of it.
It's immediately. Hey, hey, let me grab you here for a minute.
Hey, let me just come over here. I'm gonna ask you something. Yeah.
Let me talk to you for 15 minutes about this one part specifically. Can I do you have a minute? I'm sure you do.
Are you lying to me? Okay. Are you sure you're not lying?
There's a whole process. There's a whole back and forth.
Yep.
It's like playing chess. He knows your moves, you know his moves, and then it just slowly and then the game ends. You go, you know what? It's pretty good. It was a pretty good performance.
Eventually the day is over.
Yeah. And you get tired and then you fall asleep and then you do it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wake up in the morning. You sure it was okay?
Regarding last night's conversation, going back to that, I have a few more points to make.
I'm not even kidding. That's literally how bad it gets sometimes. Oh my
god. You were performing some songs from Geist this year, right? On these tours and whatnot.
Totally.
Wow. How did that feel to get them out there in a way like that, in performing, because it just turned one, right? It had a 1-year anniversary kind of recently, a few months ago, maybe.
Totally, yeah. I think it was in October.
Still pretty fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It felt amazing. And like the one song that I didn't expect to have such an impact was the a cappella song that's on that record. It's called Awaken and Allow.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I sing that song, whether the crowd is big or small, everyone, like this beautiful hush falls over the room. And it's just this really stunning representation of how much we need to be reminded of, you know, our power, and like the fact that our struggle only gives us an opportunity to like further execute our ability, and like our knowing that like we can do it, you know. It's like we're fully capable of traveling outside of our comfort zone in order to learn more about ourselves. And I think we just need like every reminder that it's okay to do that. And singing that song just feels so epic, dude. It's been amazing.
There was something else that was playing in the studio version, though. Am I correct about that? There's something else in the background.
There's like a little tone that comes in, and then Ben, the keyboard player, he did this like reverse fucking like synth sound. It's super epic on the record, but live I just sing it straight up a cappella. And
wow. Was that daunting? Were you looking forward to that? You're like, I don't know how the fuck this is gonna go. What was your first thought like of performing that live like that?
It's been fun to find like the place where it sits well in the set, and as I've played it, I've kind of pushed it further and further towards the end, because it's just a really nice like unifier. It just feels like a nice unifier. So I like, yeah, I've just been I'm always nervous about it because there's nothing to hide behind, but it's
bare bones. Yeah.
Bare bones. But I think that is like the part that resonates so much with people, is just kind of the primal act of listening to someone sing. And it also feels really closely tied to like my Irish roots. And like I think this year, or this coming year, I'm going to get to go to Ireland for the first time and sing it, and I can't wait to do that. And there's something really visceral about singing, and like having just an unencumbered voice fill a room. It's amazing. Like, yeah, I've never seen anyone do that, you know, so it's cool.
Wait till you get over to Ireland. You're like, fuck, everybody's doing this. It's not special anymore.
You walk into the bar and they're like, oh, you're a singer? Sing us a song.
Right now, everybody be quiet. She's singing a song. Go ahead. Did you know that you were going to do it a cappella style, like live? Like when you were recording that, you're like, oh, I'm going to have to play this live and it's going to be a cappella. Was it going through your mind?
I didn't really think about it. I think it happened really naturally. It just kind of worked its way in. And once I saw the response from it, it was like a crucial part of the experience. Like I was like, oh, this is really cool. And not only like, is it cool, but I want to do more of it. Like I would love to just explore what it would be like to try more stuff like that. Cause again, like discovering these superpowers, like you can't ignore that you're capable of these things once you figure it out. Sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
How does the album Geist as a whole feel, looking at it now from a year of perspective and playing these shows, with these songs being played live?
It feels so warm and lovely. It's just like I'm so proud of that record, and it just feels like a really beautiful snapshot of like a really crucial part of like my healing journey, as far as just like getting to know myself and kind of peeling back these like really thick layers that were covering up, like my just like heart space, and being able to express myself and feel comfortable with doing that. And it was so thoroughly seen by people. Like people really listened to it and got it. Like I read some reviews that like, they gave me insights that I didn't know I was trying to convey. It was just so beautiful how seen and heard I felt with that record. And moving forward, it's just that beautiful indicator of like, it's all about trusting yourself and what you want to do, and like really letting people in on your experience, because chances are someone else is going through the same thing, and like they need to hear those words. And providing something that is genuinely like a moment of stillness for people. I think especially as things start going again, and we are getting back to life in a sort of normal kind of way. It's I don't think that we should abandon the stillness. I think that the stillness that we felt and were kind of forced into during the pandemic is something that like we really need to carry with us and remember to give ourselves those moments. They're crucial. They're so crucial. So I'm
Crucial.
so proud. I'm so proud of that record.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. You can find that album Geist on all streaming platforms. Whatever you use, that's where it is, and you can delve in with to the stillness. And the people can support you directly through the Bandcamp, right? Best place.
Or shannonlay.com. I've been doing more sales on that one too.
Shanley.com, shanley.bandcamp.com as well. Whatever you want to support her through. And also your website, shanley.com, is where some ceramic pieces will be up for sale, right?
Totally. Yeah, I've been posting a few. Yeah.
Awesome. And then people can stay up to date through the website as well. It gives you nice tour dates and all that fun stuff and
Totally.
releases and whatnot.
If you need lyrics, I've posted all the lyrics on
And
there.
lyrics.
Yeah.
If you don't know them by heart already, yeah, you can go and find them. Also Sub Pop. Sub Pop is also has a wide variety of the releases that have been released so far, which is great. Great label. Little
Yeah.
underground label, but I think that they're about ready to,
They're finding their footing.
yeah, kind of new guys on the scene. In news and whatnot and all that good stuff, ceramic pieces and movie recommendations, all this fun stuff can also be found at your Instagram at Shanny2Dope on
Yes.
Instagram.
Yes.
That's a great. I love that name. It's awesome.
I love it so much.
Reminiscent of another guy, Shaggy. I don't know if you heard of this guy, Shaggy 2Dope. I don't know if you know. I feel like you kind of bit your style there, but
A friend of mine, Josh Taylor, who's like a total legend, he invented the legacy for me that I was conceived at the first ICP show, and that Shaggy Two Dope is my father. So I am daughter of Shaggy Two Dope, Shanny Two Dope. And I love that. I will uphold that legacy with pride.
I mean, that's just part of the lure. Yes. Shannon, I appreciate you coming back on. It's always a pleasure having you on. And new record coming out this year, right?
This year, next year. Yes, at some point.
It's coming out. So just stay tuned and be sure to follow Shanny2Dope on Instagram.
Yeah.
For all updates. Shannon, you're amazing. I'm gonna stop recording this. I'll talk to you in a minute, okay?
Thanks, Jacob.
Thank you.